Yes. So we were doing that same example. So A is nothing but 2758. Uh, Suppose we were doing the third property, right? Okay. So if you have to find something like the R2 plus 2 times R1, this goes, मतलब जो ये first लिखा है, this only always changes. मतलब R2 is changing to R2 plus 2 times R1. There is no change in R1. R1 will write it as it is. R2 is changing. How is R2 changing? R2, whatever it is, plus 2 times R1. 2 twos are. So you can write it 2 twos, or you can write it 4 directly. Now R2 plus 2 times R1, 2 into 5. So whatever it is, you can write it 2, 5, 7 plus 4, 11, 8 plus 10, 18. Okay, so this is the final answer. Likewise, you can do it for any column as well. और स्केलर है तो not just necessarily addition, माइनस में भी हो सकता है. जैसे you have something like this. Suppose if B is, now we're doing the same thing with respect to a column. 3, 1, minus 2, 4. Then C1 minus 2, C2. Okay. So now what is changing? As I said, the first thing, whatever you write, that actually changes. The changes उसमें होता है. C1 changes to C1 minus 2 times C2. We can see that there is, 1 second. Yes. C1 minus 2 times C2 is, this is your C1, this is our C2. So C1 only changing to C1 minus 2 times C2, right? And the C1 is minus 2 times C2, which is equal to minus 4 plus 4. And C2, there is no change, so it will be like that only, minus 2 and 4. Okay. So here the answer will be 3 minus 2 into minus 2. So that becomes 3 plus 4, 7, 1 minus 1 minus 8. That will be minus 7. This is, what is the question? Is it minus 2? Oh yeah, then this is also minus 2. 4 as it is. Okay. Yes. So suppose we can find out, we do few tiny sums as a part of your example. Suppose if we have, if B is equal to 1, 4, 3, 2, 7, 2, 3, 1, 1. Okay. Then you have to apply the transformation C2 minus 2C1. C2 minus 2C1, as the name says, C2 is undergoing a change, right? C2 minus 2C1. Yes. So C2 as it is, what is your C2? This is your C1, C2 and C3, right? So only this column will undergo through a change. The rest everything will be the same. So let us write everything as it is. C1 will be as it is 1, 4, 3. C3 will be as it is 3, 1, 1. C2 will be 2 minus 2 times C1. This 7 minus 2 times 4. 2 minus 3 times 2 times 3. Okay, so all these things we're writing, and now 1, 4, 3, 2, 2 minus 2, that gives us 0. 7 minus 8, that gives us minus 1. 2 minus 6, that gives us minus 4. 3, 1, 1. Okay, yes. So this is the final answer. Let's do it for R as well. One example on row transformation. Suppose if we have an element A like this, 1 minus 2 minus 7, minus 2, 1, 5, 3, 2, 1. Okay. और यहाँ पे you have to apply the transformation R2 plus 2R1. This may seem to be very simple right now, but later on when you have to, abhi to it is directly given, no, R2 plus 2R1 you have to find. तो तुमको पता है कि R1 और R3 में कुछ चेंज नहीं होने वाला है, so then directly you can write. But while finding out inverse or something, you have to appropriately think कौन सा transformation लगाना है, how will easily find out inverse and everything. So now we said R2 में the changes, so R2 plus 2 times R1, R2 plus 2 times R1, R2 plus 2 times R1. And R1 and R3 as it is, there's no change. 3, 2, 1. 1 minus 2 minus 7. And this answer is nothing but minus 2 plus 2, 0. 1 minus 4 is minus 3. 5 minus 14 is minus 9. 3, 2, 1 as this. Alright? That was an example. Okay. So now the other type is like a question like this, where I said that you have to individually think a concept transformation will be suitable for this type of matrix. Now here directly it is not given to us. Convert this matrix that you have 2, 3, 1, 6, okay, into identity matrix. Into identity matrix using suitable row transformation. Okay, using suitable row transformation. So what does that mean is this matrix that you have 2 1 3 6 ये वाला matrix को convert करना है into identity matrix. अभी इसका order is clearly equal to 2, right? So we can clearly see कि जो matrix बनेगा वो identity matrix भी order 2 का होना चाहिए. मतलब हमको ये वाला matrix ऐसा बनाना है. How does an identity matrix looks like? Diagonals में all ones and the remaining places will have 0. So you have to convert this matrix into this matrix, but the restriction is you should only use row transformation, column transformation we cannot use. Okay, so अभी suppose हमारा A is this thing, we'll just name it 2 1 3 6. This is the main question. इसको ऐसे फॉर्म में लेके आना है, इसको ऐसे फॉर्म में लेके आना है, मतलब पहले 1 चाहिए फिर 0 0 0 1 चाहिए, राइट? फिर पहला वाला 1 तो यहाँ पे नहीं है. So what we can do is instead of making the 2 1, if we kind of row transformation, अगर यहाँ का row transform कर देते हैं R1 to R2, अगर ये दोनों को interchange कर दे तो ऊपर तो 1 easily आ जा रहा है. Are you understanding? So our first transformation will be interchanging R1 and R2. So what will we get now? This becomes row 2 becomes row 1 now, and row 1 becomes row 2 now. Okay, R1 interchanging to R2. So now what else did we want? We want 0 over here, right? We want the next 0 over here, correct? अभी इसका 0 कैसे मिलेगा? See, यहाँ पे 2 है, यहाँ पे 1 है. We cannot make it just minus 2. That is not possible. R minus 3, R minus 2, that is not possible. You can only multiply with a scalar. You can just not ऐसे subtract करो, add करो एक इससे, वैसा that is not possible. So all those addition and subtraction has to be taken care of with respect to some other row. अभी suppose यहाँ पे 2 है, I want to make this 0. When can 2 become 0? Only when I 2 से मैं एक और 2 को subtract करूँ तभी वो 0 हो जाएगा, right? तो ये 2 है और मुझे इसको ये 0 बनाना है. तो इसमें से अगर मैं 2 subtract करूंगी तभी तो 0 बनेगा ना. पहले बताओ, this is in row number 2. Yes. So minus, what should I minus so that I get 0? But as I said, you cannot directly write minus 2. You have to write that is 2 into 2 times row 1. Are you understanding? So that's the suitable operation will be used. So 2 into row 1 is 1, right? So 2 into 1. So that will be 2. So R2. 2 minus 2 will give me 0. Now the change, there is no change in the first row. We'll write 1 and 6 as it is. R2 is 2 minus 2 times R1. The next is 3 minus 2 times 6. So here we get 1 and 6 as it is. 2 minus 2 is 0. 3 minus 3, 6 2s are 12, right? So that's minus 9. So this is the answer that we're getting. Now we wanted a identity. Please focus on that identity. Now, what can we do in order that we get an identity? So, what will make, you should always follow the same order like this. ऐसे आओगे तो it is much easier. Other way also you can do, but sometimes it may take more time. Okay. The next one is making this one. So whenever you have a number and you have to make that one, like any number you can have 5, 10, 15, 20. कोई भी number को suppose 100 you have and you have to make that one. How will you do that? Divide by the same number, you'll get the answer 1. Suppose even if you have 150, divide by the same number and you'll get 1. So अभी यहाँ पे हमको 1 चाहिए for making it identity. So this is what we want to make, right? So यहाँ पे 1 चाहिए, what will we do? We will divide throughout by 1, right? So that will be minus 1 by 9 R2. Yes, R2 को divide by minus 9 करेंगे. ये तो 0 है, तो 0 divided by anything will be 0 only. So we're not concerned. So this becomes 1, 6 first rows as it is. This becomes 0, minus 9 by 9. That minus 9 by minus 9. This is minus, okay? So that gives me 1. Now the only difference is ये सब मैच हो गया. अभी सिर्फ ये 6 को 0 बनाने का है. Now 6 को 0 बनाना, it is very easy, like how we made वो 2 को जैसे 1 किया था वैसे we have to make 6 को 0 over here. So as I said, 6 को कैसे 0 करोगे जब minus 6 होगा. But as I said, minus 6 cannot be written like that. So row 1 we are changing to row 1 minus 6 times row 2. मतलब minus 6 करने के लिए minus 6 into some row का help चाहिए, right? So that will be row 1 minus 6 times row 2 is 0. Row 1 minus 6 times row 2. Okay. And row 2 there is no change. So here we get the final answer as, here we get the final answer as 1 minus 6 into 0 is 1, the 0 as it is, 6 minus 6 into 1 is 6, 6 minus 6 is 0, 1 left. So this is the identity matrix that we wanted to. So initially we had A, what was the question? 2 1 3 6 था, हमने इसको कन्वर्ट कर दिया है आइडेंटिटी मैट्रिक्स. To be more precise, you write it as I2 because identity of course means 1 in the diagonals and 0 in the non-diagonal place. But order 2 है तो we write it or I2, order 3 है तो mostly we write it I3. So either it is just identity written, I लिखा है, that is also okay. 1 0 0 1. Okay. So I guess in the next lecture we can work on inverse of a matrix, but inverse of finding a matrix using row column transformation only is much easier. So you have to get used to both the types of transformations. You should know when to use what type of transformation, what scalar to be used with वो मतलब कौन से rows को multiply minus करना है, add करना है, and all such things you should know. Only then it becomes easy for us to find out inverse of a matrix using row and column transformation.